All right, so we're gonna jump into fighting and lifting, the two combinations that I'm gonna start to do for this 2025. It's gonna be big. I'm planning to do hopefully a fight in May of next year. So there's gonna be a 5 month process for me to actually like structure everything. But I also have to figure out how to balance lifting and fighting, because the biggest thing is when you start fighting, you start to lose a lot of weight. As you can see, I'm a lot leaner, which is good, but I'm also losing weight, which I want to be able to maintain, if not gain some more muscle as well. So there's going to be a shift in my diet that I'm going to talk about. There's going to be a shift in how I train at the gym as well. I'm going to be training less frequently because I'm also going to be fighting. So I have to be able to balance both. And I'm going to be eating a lot more food, right? Obviously. So that's what's going to happen. But before we get started, I do want to shout out Hume Health. They are a sponsor for this video. They're an amazing smart scale that you can basically use to be able to figure out your body fat percentage, figure out your metabolic age, figure out your visceral fat that you have. Like literally, it's specific. It's like almost like a DEXA scanner in your house. Very, very good product that I've used to basically figure out where I'm currently at, where are my weak points, and what I need to improve. Literally everything is there. There's a dashboard. There's all kinds of information that you can use to basically make sure that you are dialed in, right? All of the metrics are there. Everything, even metrics that you didn't even think were there, are there. And I would highly recommend them if you don't have a smart scale, if you don't have access to a machine, a DEXA scan, wherever you're at, you can literally use this in your home. So the link will be in the description. You can go ahead and use my code as well for a discount, but it's a really good product. It's at an affordable price and you can literally have it for a very long time. So shout out to them for the sponsor. Now, let's get into the actual video. So basically when I'm going through the process of figuring out what I'm going to eat, how I'm going to train, I have to understand, and you also have to understand, if you're at a process where you also want to fight, where you want to do some sort of sport, you want to do some sort of physical activity outside of the gym, which I highly recommend, you have to start training less. So let's talk about the training side of things, right? So I was training probably 6 times a week. 6 times a week with one rest day. Sometimes I wouldn't even take a rest day, which is fine if you're just going to the gym and if you regulate the volume that you're doing. But for me at this point in time, I have to be very strategic with how I'm actually training in the gym, right? So for me, biggest thing that I have to start doing is going 3 times a week. Why? Because I'm also fighting 3 times a week. So really 6 days a week of activity and one day of just complete rest, right? So when I'm in the gym, instead of training for volume, I'm actually training for intensity. So I'm decreasing the volume now and I'm increasing the intensity. I call this heavy duty training, right? So now I'm doing 2 warm up sets of every exercise, and then I'm doing one working set, which means I'm going all out on that set and I'm pushing to basically failure, right? With the most weight that I can possibly do. This is going to cut the time that I have in the gym. It's going to allow for me to actually be stronger, build more muscle faster, and I won't burn myself out. Right? So my split is essentially going to be an upper, lower, and then I'm going to add kettlebell training and Olympic lifting as the third day of the split. That way I can keep functionality as well. I can build more power, I can build more explosiveness while also building more size. So that way I have both. I'm not stiff when I move. I can have greater motion in my hip flexors. I can be able to move more dynamically. So I want to keep a variety. I don't just want to train and just bodybuilder, right? I want to have bodybuilding. I also want to have Olympic lifting. And then I also want to have some kettlebell training as well for explosiveness. And I may be able to add in some calisthenics that day as well. But I do want to keep those three as the main part for the training side of things, right? So this is going to be 3 days a week, hard training 3 days a week. Believe it or not, it probably takes 30 to 45 minutes max to do. But from even starting now, it is one of the most intense styles of training that I've ever done. And I highly recommend it for any of you guys that are interested in doing that. If you need help with that as well, if you want to be able to do some sort of a training in this sense, I can design it for you. Link is in the description. Book a free call with me. We'll see if it makes sense to work together and I can help you with that process, right? But if you're doing it on your own, basically rewatch this video again, see how I explained it, and do it for yourself. Now, when it comes to nutrition, right? Nutrition is going to be very important because my macros are going to change. I'm going to be needing a lot more carbs in my diet. I know a lot of people say no carbs, carbs are bad. Carbs are great, especially when you're in an athletic sport and you're moving a lot and you're consuming a lot of calories when you move, you're consuming a lot of energy. You need fast acting energy, and carbs are a great thing for that, right? So I'm going to probably be doing about 40% carbs. I'm going to also be doing around 30% protein, maybe a little bit more. And then the rest is going to go towards my fats, right? Healthier fats, omega-3 fatty acids, nuts, pulse. You have all the other avocados, things of that nature. So that's what it's going to look like from a macro perspective. The way that my routine's going to look, though, is going to be a little different, right? So the way that my routine in terms of my diet is going to look, in the morning, I'm basically just going to have an all fruit diet, right? All fruit diet up until 12. And so the reason I do this is because, one, it gives me sustained energy. Fruit is best eaten in the morning, right? That's when you can digest it. It can turn into glucose, which is really good for you to actually use as energy. A lot of the training that I'm going to be doing is going to be in the morning as well. So it's going to help me with that process. I don't want to sit on an empty stomach. I don't want to endlessly fast. It's actually not good for you, especially when you're moving a ton. If you're sedentary, it might work fasting for that long. But for me, it makes sense to really go on an all fruit cycle for up until 12 p.m. After that, I'll then transition into a higher protein. So maybe like a steak, a lamb, something of that nature with a specific carb, maybe like sweet potato, something like that, right? Then after that, I'll transition into Greek yogurt, which is really good. It has a lot of protein in it. I can also add some honey in there as well. Again, more glucose that's going to help me a lot with my energy being sustained. And then I can add some nuts to that pause as well, right? So I'm going to have that. And then for dinner, I'm basically going to have a bigger meal, which is probably going to be, ribeye, with maybe sweet potatoes, maybe quinoa, maybe some other complex carb that I can consume with. White rice is also good as well for me. So I'm going to be able to have a bigger meal with that. So right now we really just said 3 meals so far. And the fourth one can either be cottage cheese or it can be a protein shake with creatine. So that way I can max it out. So I'm really eating 4 meals a day. Bigger portions, of course, but I'm going to keep it that way and run that model because so far I've been feeling great doing it. And when it comes to supplementation, obviously my iron, zinc, magnesium, we have vitamin C, vitamin D5, where it's probably going to be about 5 to 10,000 IUs per day. You can also mix that in with K2. So they have vitamin D3 plus K2. I think I said D5, but I meant D3. But vitamin D3 plus K2, which is a good bind that basically allows for that to really do its thing in your body. So I always like to have that combination. Creatine, of course, I need that now because I want to build again, going on basically like an athletic lean bulk. So it's going to be good to have that. And then from there, I'm going to transition into like the actual day-to-day, right? The day-to-day is going to be interesting. Basically, I'm going to be able to eat. I'm going to be working as well. So like after I eat my huge bowl of fruit in the morning, fruits can be pineapples, blueberries, apples, literally any fruit that you want. That's basically what you can consume. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm going to get straight to work, right? Drink the coffee that I need. By the way, with coffee, what I'm doing now is I'm actually adding a little bit of butter into it. And the reason for this is because the healthier fats in that butter, grass-fed butter, is going to help you sustain your energy for a long period of time. And it's actually going to cut your coffee intake a lot more because you're not going to need a lot of coffee to have the energy that you need, right? So I'm doing that when it comes to coffee. And then from there, I will start working and then I'll go straight into fighting. I'll go straight into whether it's sparring or whether it's tactical training, whether it's actually going in and doing some technical work with my coach. I'm going to be doing that as well. And basically that's how it's going to run for my fighting days. My days that I'm not fighting, I'm basically going to wake up, I'm going to eat my bowl of fruit. I may have a tablespoon of honey as well. And then I'm going to go straight to the gym. I'm going to train, whether it's upper body, lower body, or it's the kettlebell or Olympic lifting split. And I'm going to do that for about 45 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to actually consume my protein shake after I do that, and then consume my regular meal that I had mentioned about 2 hours or 3 hours after that, right? So basically inverting the protein shake from being at night to being really like after my workout. And then from there, continue working, work, and then go to sleep, right? Maybe hang out with my girl and probably watch something, chill out for a little bit, and just go from there. So that's going to be how I break down weightlifting and kickboxing as well. And so the first fight's going to be in probably May-ish is when I'm going to try to schedule it. And so there's going to be a lot of sparring. There's going to be a lot of bruises. You're probably going to see me on the camera with a bruise on my eye one day, something like that. Modeling has to take a a back seat for a little bit, but that's essentially how I'm going to balance it. That's how you can balance it as well. When you're going into some sort of a fighting sport or any sport at all, you do not need to be training every single day. You're just going to break your muscles down. This is how like fighters have like torn biceps, because they train way too much. And so their body gets way too fatigued. They don't have time to rest. And they basically just like pan out, right? So you want to make sure that you have that good balance, that you maintain the physique, because the hardest thing when it comes to fighting is maintaining a solid physique, because you're going to naturally lean down a lot. As you can see, right? I'm not as bulky as I was before, which is great because I can move. My functionality is better. You're seeing my kicks hit harder. You're seeing my punches hit harder. I have a lot more power. I have a lot more explosiveness. That's what comes with losing some size, which is good. I'm not a bodybuilder, right? Now I'm becoming a fighter. So it's a whole different transition. So that's basically what's going to be. My caloric intake is going to be around 3,500 calories a day is what I'm going for every single day. So that's going to basically be what I'm going to run for the next 5 months. And we're going to see. We're going to see how the body transforms. I have my shirt off all the time. Some of y'all complain about it, but at the end of the day, it's good because it motivates you guys. It gets people interested. It gets people engaged, and people know that I am about the life that I'm talking about, right? So that's pretty much the entirety of the video. I appreciate you, and I hope that you found some value in this. Check out Hume Health, amazing brand. They reached out to me. I got their smarts. I've been using it for the last couple weeks, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's told me a lot about my body that I did not know before. So highly recommend this, and I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.